Metalheads, welcome to another episode of Metal Verbalizers podcast. In this episode, I will verbalize a band influenced by all the old greats in heavy metal. This is a band that makes heavy metal that packs a punch. This is Wings of Steel. The band started sometime in 2019 when two of the lads from the band met while studying in Los Angeles, USA. One of the things that brought them together was that they shared a lot of musical influences. And later in 2020, the global lockdown came and the pandemic. But that would not stop them, because they choose to use this time to really refine their sound as a band. And they also use this time to actually start writing music. A lot of the material was later actually used when they created their debut. I personally think that it is really cool when people meet like this while studying and vibe on a personal level, so that they can create something really cool, like a band for example. The list of bands and artists that influenced them is actually quite long, but some of the main ones that they have in common are Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, Firehouse and Blue Murder. Of course, we also have the good old ones like Judas Priest and all of the Dio stuff, Iron Maiden, Scorpions, and many, many more. To give you a more clear picture of their own sound, we can look at the bands that they often are compared to. Here we can often see bands like Queensryche, Helloween, Crimson Glory, Judas Priest, and Steelheart. They also have been compared to bands like Dio, Iron Maiden, Whitesnake, and TNT. What is interesting to see is that it is a very wide variety of bands that they have been compared to, but I would definitely not say that there is one single band that can define their whole sound. Their sound is really made up out of different flavors from all of these bands, basically. When talking about their album covers, they wanted something that was memorable and represented their music visually. With that in mind, it also had to make sense with their band name. One thing that they like to make use of is to design their covers with opposites, like dark and bright, divine and evil, and pleasure and pain, to name a few. This is something that we can see clearly on the cover for their full-length album, Gates of Twilight. In the upper half we can see what could be a stairway to heaven, and on the bottom of the picture we have skulls and fire, which could represent hell. But in the foreground we also have two Pegasuses. They are also their opposites, and one of them is a dark black Pegasus, and the other one is a bright and white one. So once again, they are their own opposites. One more thing that is cool, that I don't think that I've heard from another band, is who designs the covers. They actually took help from a tattoo artist who took their requests and brought them together into the art that we can see on both the debut and their current album release. I think that this guy really has done a great job when designing the art, and I hope that they can use his stuff in the future as well. Lyric-wise, they write about basically what we've just talked about, opposites. I think that they described it very beautifully. They write about both what they love and desire and what they fear and turn away from. This way, the lyrics can be related to in many ways, so that means that it is up to the listener how they would like to interpret them. I think that it is absolutely beautiful when a song can have such different meanings depending on who listens to them. The name of the band started with the song that shares the same name as the band. After they had wrote the lyrics for the song, they had two titles that they were considering. The first title was Shoot to Thrill, which is a title that we might recognize from an old rock band from Australia. The other title that they had was Wings of Steel. They thought that the second one looked and sounded better, so that was the title that the song received. Some days later, the lads took a walk and they started talking about what they were going to name the band. Of course, this was not a new discussion, but at some point they started talking about actually naming the band after the song. And they both liked the idea, so after that it was decided that the name for the band was going to be Wings of Steel. But now it's time to actually take a closer look at the actual music that the band has put out so far. We're going to start with their debut, which is a 5-song EP called Wings of Steel. The EP was released in 2022, and here we find songs like Stormchild, Wings of Steel, and Blackout the Street. The song Rhythm of Desire kind of have flavors of Def Leppard. I think that you will hear what I mean when you listen to the song. One example is guitar chords that are played in reverse, which is very Def Leppard to me. Now we are in 2023 and a single was released called Cry of the Damned. This is a song that is packed with power and is straight through a great song that gets you excited for what is to come. Like always after a single, a big release is to come. This was the band's first ever full-length album, and in 2023 they have released Gates of Twilight. This album is packed with the single of course and 9 other songs for you to rock out to. Among them you will find songs like Fall in Line, She Cries, and Slave of Sorrows. Since we have already gone through the band's releases, it is time for my little segment that I like to call Erik's Top 5. This is a list of songs that I really liked with the band, and I think it is a good start when listening to Wings of Steel. So let's go. Number 1, Wings of Steel from Wings of Steel. Number 2, Rhythm of Desire from Wings of Steel. Number 3, Cry of the Damned from Gates of Twilight. Number 4, Liar in Love from Gates of Twilight. And number 5, Into the Sun from Gates of Twilight. This was my top 5 list. Now I wanted to know, do you agree with my list or would you have put other songs in there? We would love to hear about your own top 5 lists, so why not head on over to our social medias and tell us about them. But let's talk a little bit about the future for the band as well, because we got some seriously exciting stuff going on. The most recent that is currently in the works is that the band is going to release both their EP and the full-length album on vinyl. They are currently being manufactured and will be available through their official website wingsofsteelband.com, or if you live in Europe, they will also be available through their German partner Underground Power Records. Very exciting for us here in Europe is that they are going to make their way over the pond to go on tour here in Europe in 2024. On this tour, they have planned that they are going to play at the festivals Keep It True and Bavarian Metalheads. The rest of the locations and dates is something that we have to keep an eye out on their social medias to find out. Finally, they are planning to make a US tour happen as well during 2024. This will probably be some time in the summer or the fall. I personally think that this is a powerhouse of a band, and it is going to be super exciting to see how they will evolve and rise. This is a band that is influenced by many of my favorites, and have brought it together into one sound. It's like when cooking. If you have great ingredients, the food will be amazing. On that note, I think that it is time to wrap things up. If Wings of Steel sounds like it is for you, don't hesitate to check them out. If you happen to like them, don't forget to follow their social media. This is one of the cheapest and simplest ways to support the band. Also, it is a way for you to get updates on what is next for the band. So it's a win-win situation. If you like what we are doing here on Metal Verbalizers podcast, bringing you new awesome bands to listen to, don't forget to give our socials a follow as well. That way you will be updated on what bands we are going to verbalize next. Also, you can be the one to give us the next band to be verbalized. We always take suggestions in consideration when we make our episodes. Sometimes we also talk to the bands and have them tell stories from their tours or interview them. This is something that you do not want to miss. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to Metal Verbalizers podcast, Verbalizing Wings of Steel.